Hi, welcome to Chapter 2, Part 2 of Class 6th History NCERT textbook. Now we will talk about a very important topic, that is names and dates. See, I know it can be very confusing at first looking at those big heavy names like Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic which we saw in the map. Let's see what do they mean. First of all, you must note that we don't know anything beyond 2 million years in the past. Start from today and go back 2 million years. This is the entire time period of the human history. Now, 99% of this time period is known as Paleolithic, that is starting from 2 million years ago up to 12,000 years ago, that is till 10,000 BC. Paleolithic is derived from two Greek words, that is paleo and lithos. Paleo means old and lithos means stone. That means it was the age of old stone. Paleolithic is further divided into three parts, that is lower, middle and upper Paleolithic. The lower one here is the earliest part of the Paleolithic period. After Paleolithic comes the Mesolithic period, that is Middle Stone Age, extending from 12,000 years to 10,000 years ago, that is from 10,000 BC to 8,000 BC. During this period, we observed a lot of environmental changes like heavy rain leading to the growth of forest and plants, which in turn led to increase in population of animals. In this period, we found stones which were generally smaller in size than the one which we saw in Paleolithic times, and we call them as microliths. The basic reason for this was, with the passage of time, man learned to turn the big boulders which he used before into sharper stones of different shapes for various purposes, like using it at the head of wood handle to dig up roots from the earth's surface, or to use it as a saw to chop something with accuracy. It was basically the evolution of man happening with the passage of time. Now after Mesolithic, we see the Neolithic period, that is the New Stone Age. This age started from about 10,000 years ago, that is from about 8,000 BC, and is going on at this moment. Now tell me what was unique about this period. If you have watched my previous videos, you would have already answered my question. Of course, this was the time period in which human beings first started agricultural practices and rearing of domestic animals, that is around 6000 BC. One more thing, the names which we used to denote the places in this chapter are their present day names, because we don't know by what names the ancient man denoted these places. Now talking a little bit about the changing environment around 10,000 BC, that is at the start of Mesolithic period. See, as I told you a few moments back, there was heavy rain conditions at the start of this period, which in turn led to warm climate, because more rain means more humidity, and more humidity means warm climate. A warm climate is the most suitable environment for the dense forest and grasslands to grow. That means there was plenty of food to eat for the animals, leading to a drastic increase in reproductive activities and their population. Now the human, who always followed these animals till now only with the purpose to hunt, started to observe their food habits and breeding patterns, and this made him think that why don't I rear these animals domestically instead of hunting them, as it will be more beneficial, giving me more animal products like milk, wool, etc. on a continuous basis. And this is how he started herding and rearing these animals. But let me tell you, this did not happen in one day. The ancient man first tried to tame the animal, that means domesticating the animal. You cannot keep a wild animal in your house and expect to get the animal product whenever you want. A wild animal won't listen to your command. That is why ancient man started to give them food near his shelter, so that the wild animal becomes obedient to him. But of course, he did not know which animal to domesticate first, So he tried it with the ancestor of wild dog. But as it was not easy to tame it, then he moved on to try this with more gentle animals like sheep, goat, and cattle. And this is how, over a period of time, he became a herder and protected domestic animals from wild ones. Now, how he became a farmer? See, this is also a kind of similar story. As we talked about growth of natural dense forest and grasslands around this time, that is around 10,000 BC, there were some naturally growing grasses which had grains like wheat, barley and rice in them. The ancient human used to pluck these grains and eat them. Eventually, he observed their growing pattern and started to grow them on his own, and that is how he became a farmer. Talking a little bit about domestication, as we have been given this box in NCERT. Domestication is basically a way by which you grow plants and herd animals and look after them. That's it. One important thing to note here is when ancient human grew plants and started domesticating animals, eventually they became quite different from wild ones in characteristics. And this is because they always chose which plant to grow and animal to domesticate. They always chose the best ones, and over a period of time, the later generations of that animal or plant became quite different than the wild ones. For example, the ancient human always chose only those plants and animals which were not prone to disease. They chose the gentle animals for breeding, because if the parent animal is gentle, then the child animal will have more of gentle characteristics and less of wild characteristics. Similarly, they preserved and used good quality seeds to grow more plants of the same quality. Have a look at this picture. On the left, you see the teeth of a domesticated animal, and on the right, of a wild animal. Just compare the size. Again, I am pointing out here all these processes which I am talking about did not happen in one day. It took a long period of time. Now, talking about this new way of life of ancient man, we know that a crop when grown needs a lot of care and some time to mature before you harvest it. So ancient man had to do all these duties like protecting the crop from animals and birds, watering and weeding the crops, etc. etc. He used the grain he grew for different purposes, like storing it for later use, using it as food, giving it to someone as gift, or using it again as a seed to grow more plants of the same quality. Nowadays, we have refrigerators and modern technology to store our food, but in those days we didn't have any of these. So people used to store food in clay pots, hand woven baskets, or pits dug into the ground. Animals were also a storehouse of food because they would give milk and meat whenever human wanted, and also they would multiply naturally, unlike plants for which seeds had to be preserved to grow them again. So animal rearing was a good decision on their part. Now have a look at this map. Places marked by blue squares, that is Burza Home, Mehergarh, Koldiava, Chirand, Mahagara, Daujali Heding, Hallur and Payyampalli are few of the important Neolithic sites where we see the earliest traces of farmers and herders. Basically, these sites were found all over the Indian subcontinent. Scientists found burnt grains and animal bones here and could identify them clearly, due to which we get to know which crops were grown and which animals were herded in different parts of the Indian subcontinent. If you remember, I told you about two places, that is Suleiman Kirthar Hills on Pakistan and Afghanistan border in northwest and Garo Hills in the northeast, where we found first traces of farmer and herders. Now look at Mehergarh in northwest and Daujali Heding in northeast. You will find these locations are very close to the locations I mentioned above. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Jai Hind.